Welcome to r/Best of Redditor updates, where OP's husband has a plan to impregnate his coworker. Our next Reddit post comes from r/relationships. My significant other and I have been married for 4 years, together for 7. About 14 months ago, my husband was pushing me to get pregnant. He wanted a baby. I honestly did not. I was finally hitting my stride at work. We just bought our first condo together, and we weren't really living a kid-friendly kind of life. I didn't tell him this, mostly because I was a coward and we'd never really disagreed before, so I kept my mouth shut and decided it wouldn't be a huge sacrifice to have a baby. I could make it work. We got pregnant. I was miserable. Pregnancy did not suit me, and I wanted it to be over. I felt disconnected from everything, especially my pregnancy, and sought out therapy. My therapist told me I was holding resentment against the baby as I was in a great spot in my career, and I was more worried about that than my unborn child. She was right. I worked on this, and towards month 6, I was really excited to have this baby. My husband and I were in a better place. Everything was going well, until it wasn't. Around 7 months in, our baby was born as a stillbirth, and I had some horrible complications which have caused my chances at ever getting pregnant again to be incredibly low. I know that I'm never going to get pregnant again. After the initial shock, recovering from the physical trauma and the emotional trauma, I won't lie, I felt relieved, massive relief. I didn't want to be a mother back then, and I'm now a firm believer that it just wasn't meant to be. My husband took this harder, but with some therapy on both of our ends, we seem to be in a good spot. Until last night. Last night, my husband approached me. He said he really wants us to have a kid, and forgives me for losing our son. He knows that I can't conceive, but reminded me that he's more than capable. I had to remind him that we have no options. If we want a baby, then we need to look into adoption or getting donated eggs and going the surrogacy route. And right now, we aren't in a financial position for either. Then he asked, "What if there's another way?" I asked, "What?" He told me there was a woman at work that he's known for several years. Apparently, she knows about all of our marital problems and knows all about my health issues over the past year. He said they recently went to drinks together. I was on an overnight shift. And after a few drinks, she offered to not only donate eggs, but to be our surrogate. This seems too good to be true, right? Yep. She will only do this if my husband impregnates her the natural way, passionately hugging with her during her ovulation period until she gets pregnant. I was baffled by this. First, that he was considering this and seemed genuinely excited for this. Second, that this woman would offer such a thing without ever having met me. And finally, that he shared such intimate details about us with her. He then said that he followed up with her when they were both sober via text, and she responded, "Oh, I would love to have your baby." Yeah, I bet she would. This seems odd to me, and I question the mental stability of this woman. But then, my husband's entire demeanor shocks me. I told him I wasn't sure about this. If we go the surrogate route, I would prefer it all to be anonymous, and our surrogate be a stranger. I don't want this getting messy, or having to worry about running into the egg donor. Instead of seeing the validity of my opinions, he told me that having a baby with him was non-negotiable, that his friend wants to help us. He wouldn't mind doing it her way, and it would be the most cost-effective since we just discussed how we can't afford it right now. He told me that if I love him and want a baby, then I'll do this for him. I tried to explain that I'm not sure if I'm ready for this, and that I don't know if I'm comfortable with all this, especially with him sleeping with someone else. He brushed that off, telling me that it's no big deal if he were to sleep with her, and that I'm overreacting. That he stood by while I got my dream, and he was left alone and ignored. I never knew that he felt this way, and that I owed it to him to let him do this. Today, I looked up this woman on Facebook, and she is very attractive. I would say that my husband and I are both average looking, but she is definitely striking, which makes my anxiety go even higher. Why do this for us? I don't get what she gets out of this. Then, 6 days later, OP posted an update. I spoke with my husband on Tuesday. I explained to him that even though I do want kids down the road, I wouldn't be comfortable with his friend being our surrogate, and that this wouldn't change for me, ever. All this made me uncomfortable, and honestly, made me question his fidelity. He was shocked by this. His exact words were, "Are you saying that I cheated on you?" I laid it out for him, pointing out a lot of things that were pointed out to me on my original post, and stated that even if he hadn't physically cheated, that he had emotionally cheated. He said that he did have an emotional connection with her, but beyond that, nothing else. I asked if they had passionately hugged, kissed, anything sexual at all. He was baffled that I would even think this, and adamant that he didn't have any sexual contact with her. He reiterated that he loves me, and that I'm the only one he wants. The whole idea of this was because he wanted to give us a family and help repair the loss. This was just a way to do that, and he never saw it as cheating because it would be something we both agree to. I told him this isn't true because he emotionally manipulated me, or tried to, into going along with it. I told him I needed to know what their relationship was like. He admitted that over the past year, even while I was pregnant, he confided in her about my obvious lack of interest in the pregnancy, my disdain towards motherhood, his fear of me hating our baby, and the issues that persisted in our relationship. Apparently, she was shocked that I would feel this way towards a baby. She then told him that she's only ever wanted to be a mother. Since then, they've gotten closer, but he denies that it's ever gotten physical or that he felt any romantic inclinations towards her. He said that the surrogacy was completely her idea and that she's been hinting at it for weeks, telling him how she would carry our baby for us, how he deserves to be a dad. But he informed her that we didn't have any frozen eggs, so our options were egg donation or adoption, which we couldn't afford. No problem, she suggested to use her eggs, which is how the plan took shape. He said that they could do artificial insemination, but she said she didn't want a medical record of this, and natural insemination would keep costs down. I asked him what the F he was thinking talk to her about stuff like this, and thinking this was okay. He looked like a deer caught in the headlights. I asked him how he would feel if I did this. If he was the infertile one, and I had an attractive doctor friend knock me up with no strings attached at his suggestion, how would he feel? He had nothing to say to this. I told him that I felt absolutely betrayed by all of this. Clearly, she has some sort of mental health problems and an unhealthy attachment to my husband. But beyond that, his relationship with her is inappropriate. He said, "Obviously, I shared too much." No kidding. I told him I'm upset that he forgave me for the loss of our baby, which I had no control over, and that he used that to emotionally manipulate me. He apologized for that. He never meant it to come out like that, and in no way blames me. After that, everything calmed down, but I told him I needed some space from him for a bit. He asked if our marriage was over. I told him I didn't think so, but this has been a really emotionally turbulent few days, and I need to process it. He told me that he doesn't want our marriage to be over if this was something I was considering. He loves me more than anything, and cannot bear to lose me over this. That losing our baby was devastating, and it's made him depressed, confused, and angry, but he doesn't want to lose me at all. I told him that he should have thought about that before planning to stick his dick in crazy. I told him that if he wants to keep open communication, he needs to cut ties with her. Obviously he works with her, but nothing beyond whatever work contact they have to have. He needs to go to individual counseling and come to at least one counseling session with me per week. Before he left, he changed his phone number, blocked her on Facebook, and deactivated it. He told me that he would give me access to whatever I wanted to see that this relationship was severed, and that it was nothing more than what he told me. His parting words were, "I just wanted to build a family with you," which absolutely gutted me. His Facebook was hard to look at. There were a lot of chat messages between the two of them spanning the last 8 months when he added her on Facebook. Overall, his messages were friendly. A few times he was flirty, but never sexual, or what I consider too much for what should be friends. But hers were pretty clear in her meaning. She's making some kind of play for him. I took screenshots of all the conversations and deactivated his Facebook again. On iMessage, all of his texts and chats line up with his story, but the whole exchange about the logistics makes me sick. She talks about making the baby as though it's a date, that she doesn't want it to be sterile or feel like she's being used. Her comments were inappropriate, but he never stopped her or corrected her. She even insulted me several times when he expressed concern over how I would feel, saying things like, "She's cold-hearted, and maybe you should just do this on your own so you don't have to worry about her rejecting the baby." He didn't really stand up for me, but he did say that he didn't think that I would do that. It was all very hard to read, but I feel better about my decision overall. Thursday morning, he let me know that he turned in his letter of resignation Wednesday morning. He hasn't heard from her, but doesn't intend to seek her out to say goodbye either. He apologized. He just thought that he was doing the right thing and thought this would make me happy. I still feel extremely betrayed. He's still dealing with the loss and other things. We both agree that our communication has really deteriorated in the past year and that we need to fix this. So, no lawyer, no gym, just therapy for us. Well, I think we can all agree that the coworker clearly wanted to steal OP's husband away. My guess is that she wanted to use the experience of making the baby and the baby itself as a way to anchor the husband to her and just begin the whole "you belong to me now" process. She seems a bit crazy. Our next Reddit post comes from r/whatshouldido. I've been with my wife for 10 years, married for 6. I thought that we were really happy. She's got a kid from a previous relationship. The dad's not in the picture. I've taken on the fatherhood role. We both work, me full-time, her part-time. We live a good life, holiday abroad every few months, no real financial worries. Both in pretty good shape, and plenty of love, affection, and intercourse between us. I thought that we'd be together forever. On to my friend. His wife left him in horrific circumstances last year. He came home one day to find her gone with their 2-year-old. She left him for a drug dealer that she met on Instagram, who ended up assaulting them both, and it's a massive legal issue that destroyed him. Since then, he's become very anti-women, despite having a great family full of women. He's constantly telling us how all women are the same, etc. Well, last week, he sent me a load of screenshots. Must have been over 100 of them, going from November to January 15th. He got another phone and started messaging my wife pretending to be a man from a couple of hours away who got the wrong number. Within a week, he was getting nudes from her and sexting. By Christmas, she was telling him she loves him, and the final one was a photo of her walking in a hotel to meet him, and then angry messages from her asking where he was. I went to his house and was distraught. He told me that he had done this to another 6 friends of ours. Only my wife failed the test. He had the phone with him, and as I was there, she messaged him asking where he'd gone and saying how much she misses him. He's shown me that she's been sending stuff like that the past week with no response. I left there without really saying anything, and I went home, and once me and my wife were alone, I confronted her with the evidence I have. She started crying, saying she doesn't know why she did it, and it just started off as a bit of fun at work, and then she got carried away. She said she feels like she loves us both, me and my friend, and doesn't want to lose me. I didn't know what to do, so I just left and went to a hotel. I'm still here now and unsure of what my next step should be. I want to cut them both off, but I'll miss my stepdaughter so much, and my friends are saying that I can't be mad at my friend as he did me a favor. Then, 3 days later, OP posted an update. I met with my stepdaughter yesterday. We met at a park, and when we saw each other, we both started crying and just hugged for 5 minutes. Every memory of her from when I first met her went through my head, and I didn't want to let her go for fear of never hugging her again. We sat on a park bench, and the first thing she asked is what happened. She's 15, and I didn't see a reason to lie. I told her that her mom got catfished, and she fell for it, and she's been having an online affair for a few months, and told another man that she loved him. I left out the part about the nudes in the hotel. My stepdaughter said that her mom told her that all she had done was message an old friend and I got jealous. But she knew that I wasn't like that, and her aunt had told her that her mom had cheated and that I had done nothing wrong. I told her I have hundreds of screenshots, but I won't show them to her. She begged to see one so she could know. I tried to find a non-sexual one and showed her one where her mom said, "I love you more after 10 weeks than I do him after 10 years. Ouch! Oh, that is brutal. My stepdaughter was as horrified as I was and just said, "Oh my God." After that, we sat and talked for a couple of hours about everything. She said she still wants me as part of her life, and when I get my own place, she'll be over all the time. She said that I'm still her dad and always will be, even after I told her I plan to divorce her mom. She said that her aunt and grandmother both encouraged her to stay in touch with me because she told them she was scared I didn't want her anymore. I said nothing could be further from the truth. I gave her a lift back home, and we've been texting nonstop since sending stupid videos to each other. And she said that her grandma said that we could use her kitchen to bake together again, so we're doing that later today. Now, as for my wife and my friends, I've told my wife I want a divorce, which caused a barrage of texts and phone calls that I've ignored. I've told my friend that I want to go low contact with him, but I did ask why he didn't stop once he got to the nudes. And he said, "Because you don't get jealous. And I thought that you'd probably just find it funny." Which is probably true. If she told me that a wrong number was texting, I probably would say to flirt with them for a laugh. I do get people's point though when they say that I shouldn't be mad at him because if it wasn't him, it would have been someone else, but he did target her insecurities. He knew that she was insecure about her height and said, "First time I finally meet an Amazonian woman at a bar and we have a good time, she gives me a false number." And he knows that she struggles with having an athletic build, and he mentioned his ideal woman would be tall and strong, and how he doesn't get the trend for short women with big boobs and butts. But at the same time, my wife is an effing detective for the police force and should have recognized that she was being played. OP, geez, this was a rough read, I'm going to be honest. Your wife is awful. Your friend is terrible, even though he did do you a favor, he's still pretty terrible. At least your stepdaughter is a peach. I hope that at the very least you're able to maintain a relationship with your stepdaughter. That was r/best of Redditor updates, and if you like this content, check out my podcast where I publish the exact same episodes. Also, hit that subscribe button because I put out new Reddit videos every single day.